Hello, welcome back. Last episode of All Star Superman. We're on issue 11 and issue 12. We're done. Superman is over, and the Superman movie comes out in 3 weeks. Let's just hop into it. So we get to see Lex Luthor on the actual chair. Lex is yelling at the guards, telling them to get out of his face, and he's like, Superman didn't even show up. And he says, ask yourself how it feels to murder the genius who might have cured your sister's cancer with a cell phone and a safety pin. And then the guard is like, shut up, dude, and lights him. And then we see he doesn't die. He is still good. And he gets up and he's like, whew, my last meal that you just gave me was a 24-hour super soldier or a superhero serum. I'm good, bro. I'm basically Superman. That's Mr. Luthor, dog. And so then Lex gets up, laser beams this guy. He's like, I got super strength, super durability, catches a bullet, and he's like, ooh, everything's going to be different now. Strength of Superman and the powers of Superman, intellect of Lex Luthor. Then we come back to Superman, who is feeding the Sun Eater, shooting like liquid sun in there, and he's like, this is my way of saying goodbye, Robot 7. This is one of the most dangerous planets in the universe, and I'm going to miss it. It's like my little pet. I hope that it finds its way out in space, but I gotta go. Hopefully that I stay alive long enough to complete my final tasks for humanity, and that's why I need you, Mr. Robot 7. And I love that these robots are introduced in this comic because they are going to be in the movie. I don't know if you saw any of the trailers, but these robots are in there, keeping Fortress of Solitude intact, taking care of it. So, and we see them now. Superman tells these robots, you robots will have to maintain the areas of the fortress like the Bizarro Zoo. These poor creatures, disoriented during the invasion from the Cube Earth, require special care and attention. And then the robot hands him a document and is like, you asked me to preserve this, here you go. And it's Zabaro's poetry. So Superman puts it up on a little pedestal and he's like, what a life I've had. Traveled across time, space. I've done things beyond imagination. I've done lots of things with friends like Pete, Lana, Jimmy, and Batman, who we have not seen. I don't know why they keep bringing up Batman, but I haven't seen him at all. And it's not connected to All-Star Batman or Robin. I recommend go reading that just to read it. I won't comment whether it's good or bad, but it exists. It's there. Frank Miller did other good things, and let's just remember that. And then Superman walks out and he goes, but Lois, dear Lois, I loved you most of all. And no matter how dark it seems, there's always a way. This issue is called Red Sunday. So cutting back to Lex and his niece in their authentic Luthor lair, Lex busts into his own lair and he's like, I have his superpowers for 24 hours nostalgia. Thanks to the serum, only I could have invented. And I feel like Lex's niece is going to get replaced in the movie by the engineer, who I don't know if you know who that is. That's the person part of the Authority, but she's the one in the movie that is slicing up all those things inside of the Superman lair and also fighting Superman on the football field, I believe. But I'm guessing that this character, this niece, is getting replaced with the engineer. So Lex's niece is like, when do I get my powers? And he's like, you won't. Not until I trust you with the car. This is the ultimate high. This is awesome. I set the scum of strikers free to keep the science police and special crimes unit busy, trying not to provoke them. So in a couple of seconds, he builds a bunch of robots and he's like, whew, I can see these atoms. They're empty bags of possibility. I can see everything. I don't need any of this. It's yours to play with, niece. And he throws her the little mind control helmet. And then while talking to his niece, he brings up a good point. Even with superpowers, I'm not stupid enough to go against Superman without a little extra insurance. But he should be half dead by now. Even with his powers like Superman, he knows that there's a good chance he's not going to win. He's not used to these powers. He might be the smartest man in DC, one of them, top 5. But with Superman's powers, he doesn't know how to use it, control them. He probably is not going to win against an experienced Superman, even though Superman is already half dead. So that's why he brought an insurance policy. He tells his niece he loses his powers under red sunlight. So how cool am I? I got friends in high places. time to get changed. And he walks outside, and we see the sun reflects a red tint. And then we see Solaris, the tyrant sun, the scourge of worlds. Now, this is just my little personal opinion, personal theory. I don't know. In the Superman trailer, we do see like this thing fighting somebody. I think it's fighting Green Lantern. It's fighting Hal, or not Hal. It's fighting Guy Gardner. I believe that's Solaris. It looks like Solaris. Like in the movie, I think that Lex made an Ultraman clone. So that's what that thing is fighting Superman on the football field. And it's apparently supposed to be the same as the Hammer of Bolivia. And then also, I think he's just pulling out all the stops. He faces a tyrant sun. He's the main villain of that movie. So I think he's pulling out Solaris. So this is kind of what Solaris is just a tyrant giant sun robot thing. But now we see Superman's suit that he was working on before, a white reflective suit instead of his black suit with the mullet. Oh, so good. That absorbs all the sun. This one's going to reflect some of the sun. He's fighting a red sun, so he doesn't want to absorb all that sun, you know what I'm saying? And he says, Luthor's secret ally is here. My final adventure is about to begin. This is Superman signing out. And then he puts the helmet on. Oh my gosh, he looks so cool. He's like, you're all receiving files on Solaris. You'll be able to hear his voice on the 103rd megahertz wavelength. And then it's him, and then all of his androids follow behind him to go fight Solaris in space. And then Solaris says, oh, why aren't you powerless inside of these red rays that I have? And Superman goes, you really expected to surprise me? I made this solar suit to protect me from red sun so that I can even the odds against you. And then Solaris is like, I will kill your son. It don't even matter, big dog. And then he shoots a beam at him, and the androids stop the beam and protect Superman, as their main goal is. And then Solaris is like, you have new powers? When you are dead, I will replace the sun in the sky, and I will be the only sun. Your people will bow to me, pray to me, or die in the darkness. And then we see Superman's like, he'll wipe your file. Stay away from him, robots. And then Robot 7 says, I must atone. Solaris invaded me. He stole the formula. He stole the formula from me, Robot 7, and he gave it to Luthor. So that's how Luthor found out how to create that super serum that turns him into Superman, is he stole it using Solaris, who stole it from Robot 7. And then we see Robot 7 pass away, unfortunately. Forgive 7. What a G. Shout out to Robot 7. Gotta be my favorite character. And then a surprise shows up. The Sun Eater that Superman takes care of pops in, and Superman's like, no, please go back to your own kind. Don't do this. And then Solaris is like, what is that thing? And Superman's like, that's the natural enemy of a living solar computer, Tyrant Sun. This is the Sun Eater. And then it grabs onto Solaris, and then Superman punches him into the eye. And then the Sun Eater wraps around Solaris, and the Sun Eater dies. Yeah, rest in peace. Got to be one of my other favorite characters of this series too. Is dead, and Superman goes berserk. You killed him. And while Superman is fighting Solaris in the sun, we cut down to the streets of Metropolis, and we see a taxi driver and Lois and Jimmy, and then they get out of the car and they're like, what's going on? And then we see the niece of Lex Luthor show up in her little tank, and she's like, I love this cannon thing. I'm going to kidnap you two. And then we see Solaris fly down out of the sun, or out of the sky, and Superman pops up and he's like, by the 24th century, I'm told you've been rehabilitated to work with humanity instead of against them. Rehabilitation begins here, Solaris. So what's very important is that in this comic, Solaris isn't dead. It's like a robot cyborg, and not Lex Luthor, Superman spares him. In the movie, he just murders him. He's dead. In the movie, there's no chance that he lived.
Mercy.
I don't think I have any left.
So Superman in this punches him, and it's like a little mini bomb, and he takes his heart out. and then he takes off the costume. In the movie, he does the same similar thing, but Solaris explodes and we never see him again. So cutting back to Jimmy and Lois Lane, Jimmy's like, "You're quite stunning. You're gonna be all over the front page, Miss Lex Luthor's niece." And then she's like, I honestly don't care. I'm gonna disintegrate you guys. Now go tell everybody that we're gonna take over the world and that Superman's gonna die. Go, hurry up, run. So then we see somebody running through, and whoa, Great Caesar's ghost, man, you look terrible. What are you doing, Clark Kent? So Clark, I can't say injured, sick. It's Superman and he's about to die. Runs through, has his last headline up, and puts "It's Superman is dead." And as one of his final acts as Clark, he goes, "I witnessed the whole thing, Perry. I have tomorrow's big headline. I saw it. I wrote the whole thing. I wrote the whole thing down. Superman is dead" on his laptop. And then he passes out and collapses. There's no heartbeat. And then we have somebody bust through the Daily Planet. It's Lex. Clark is the least of your worries. And that's the second to last issue. So getting into issue 12, we're not gonna skip a beat right here. But I do want to take a quick pause. I love this cover. This cover is so good. Yeah, Lex Luthor, I understand that the fit is hard. I see it. So starting this issue, unexpectedly, Superman is like, "Dad, what are you doing here? Why are we here? Why did you bring me all the way from the Science Plaza during a major earthquake? What are we doing?" He's like, "We were busy at the Neo Consciousness Labs, and you ruined my time, Dad." Jor-El is like, "I'm going to tell you something. I'm dead, and you're also dead, and this isn't real because Krypton has exploded." And then Superman's like, "How can this be? This is Krypton. Do you have like a scarlet fever?" And Jor-El's like, "No, dude. You're dead. What do you not understand? You died defending humanity against the great tyrant sun, Solaris. You got a toxic overdose of a yellow solar radiation. The 29 wonders of Krypton and our shining cities were all lost, Kal-El. Our art, our proud history, our very names are erased from the screens of posterity. Consider us, a whole civilization of Superman reduced to dust by capricage of cosmology. Think, then, how precious and how fragile all those little things you value are, Superman." This is where we reveal that in this little reality, Jor-El stabilized Krypton's core, is what Clark thinks. And then Clark is like, "So if this isn't real, what happened? Where am I?" And Jor-El explains, "Kryptonian cell structure adapted over millennia to store energy from our red, dim star, Rao. Matter energy cannot be created nor destroyed, Kal-El, nor can consciousness. After bodily death, Neocon lab studies confirm individual awareness keeps going on for a time and builds itself thought palaces, complex hells, as they say." So basically, Superman, when he died, went to his own hell. And then Jor-El gives him a choice. Either remain here in the field of living fluid consciousness in hell, or go down and fight Lex Luthor one last time. The choice is not that hard. I mean, would you rather be in hell or fight Lex Luthor and win again? Ooh, you decide. But Lex Luthor says, "You guys of the Daily Planet shit on me on the news, so you have to decide who lives and who dies in your office. Because now I rule the world." And then Perry stands up. "The truth sent you to the chair, Luthor." And he's like, "Whoa, is that right, Mr. White? I don't see the truth anywhere here right now, do you? Like, what color is the truth? Can I see it? Can I touch it? Like, I don't think so, man." Then Lois steps up. "I know what that power's like. I felt that rush, that clarity of the super senses. It's really cool. Just think for a minute, Lex." And then Jimmy pipes in, "She's right, Mr. Luthor." And he turns on his stupid watch. And then Lex is like, "Dude, why did you turn on the watch? Superman's not going to help you. Also, Lois, you're an ambitious girl, and I can find some room in my outfit for a propaganda spokesperson." Then we cut to Superman, and Superman's talking to Jor-El. "If I'm dead, Superman's dead. There's one more labor. Like, so how does that work? If I didn't complete all the labors and I'm dead, how do I do that?" And Jor-El's like, "There's always one more. Your work is done, but you have to show them the face of the man of tomorrow. You've given them an ideal to inspire to, embodied their highest aspirations. They will race, stumble, fall, and crawl, and curse, but finally, they will join you in the sun, Kal-El. In time, You will no longer be alone. For Krypton, it will always be too late. But the best of us will survive in you, Kal-El. And we see Krypton kind of breaking around him as he flies up with his dad. He continues on, all that is impure will be burned to ash. All that is strong and great and true will survive and be reborn in you. And then Krypton explodes. And as Krypton explodes, we see that Superman actually wakes up. But Lombard is like, I'm sorry for all those times I played tricks on you. Wake up, please, Clark. And Lex continues on. Why waste your time on Kent? What did he do with that amazing interview I gave him? Wait, what's happening? And then we see that they notice that the sun actually turned blue. Somebody says, Solaris double-crossed you and poisoned the sun, Lex. Someone or something exploited your vanity to get revenge on the whole world yet again. You're an idiot. And he gets all mad and blows her down. And then he picks up Jimmy and throws Jimmy after Jimmy tries to do something to Lex. And he's like, anyone else feel like acting out in front of the most powerful man on Earth? And then Clark gets up and he's like, well, maybe I can. And then Lex is like, wow. The careless worm grows a spine to impress that little girl. What is that? What's that you're trying to hide? And then he grabs the little gravity gun that he had from the fortress and shoots Lex, and Lex falls down. Good one on you, Clark. We'll use a weapon when Batman won't. And then, of course, everyone's like, whoa, you're not Clark Kent, you're Superman. So he does one heroic thing, and everyone's like, he's not Clark. Jimmy pulls out a new suit for Superman. He's like, whoa, Superman, nice disguise being Clark Kent. What were you going to do this whole time? And he's like, thank you. But I'll stop Luthor. So while Lex is on the ground, he gets hit by a truck, and then Superman shows up also and smashes him down. Lex is like, what are you doing, Superman? Like, I can see you. Stop playing hide and seek. We should just fight, man. He's like, I don't need to be able to see through lead when I can liquefy it. And then this is where Superman reveals that he knew that this whole thing would pan out exactly like this. He knew about Lex's involvement whenever Robot 7 malfunctioned earlier in the preparation for the Exogene. As you know, I've had to confiscate some of the world's or the galaxy's deadliest weapons, like this one. It's making it 50 times harder to stay in the air for you, but that's not why I chose a gravity gun. And then they both fall through the floor into a train, smash through the train. They don't kill everybody in the train, fortunately. Sorry, not unfortunately. That'd be terrible. But Lex ends up winning that little confrontation and drags Superman up by the cape, throws him down in front of everybody. He's like, don't be alarmed, everybody. This is only the phase transition of a new way of life without Superman. Lay down your weapons, surrender everything, and you'll all be fine. Everything's going to be fine now that Luthor has the mandate. And yes, I expect the president to be waiting at the White House with the keys in hand. Whoa, I feel weird. And then he's like, whoa, I've seen across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Einstein failed to unify the gravitational force with the other three, but he had no idea that he had to experience this. It's so obvious. I can actually see, hear, feel, and taste it all. The fundamental forces are yoked by a single thought. Everything is connected by thoughts. These are new senses that I'm getting. I can actually see the machinery wire, connecting and separating everything since it all began. This is how Superman sees everything all the time, all day, every day. Like it's all just us in here together. And we've all we got. And then his niece is like, what are you saying, Lex? And Superman stands up and he goes, what he's trying to say is gravity warps time, and I forced him to speed up his metabolism to accelerate and compensate his new powers. What he's trying to tell you is that his powers just ran out. And you were right, Lex. Brain does beat Brawn every time, and he punches him. And Superman's skin is starting to glow. This is also in the finale of All-Star Superman. I'll put it right here.
Are you okay?
Better than okay. I can see the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And those must be atoms. Little clouds of possibility. Einstein couldn't connect the gravitational force to the other three. But if he could have seen this, it's so obvious.
Uncle Lex?
The fundamental forces are yoked by consciousness. Everything's connected. Every one. And this is how he sees things all the time. Every day.
I don't know if I should be worried or mortified.
It's a cruel joke. The mechanistic clockwork of reality hinging on a precious, impossible defiance of entropy, on life. And the clockwork doesn't care. It's like it's all just us in here together. We're all we've got.
You are embarrassing me beyond therapy.
You'll have to forgive him, Nastalthia. He just figured out how everything works.
Gravity warps time. Superman trapped me in a relativistic conundrum.
He's trying to say his 24 hours of superpowers just ran out.
But it's only been a couple of hours.
Relative to us, the gravity gun sped up his clock a little.
You think I didn't make more of it?
It's so I love that voice actor too. He does so good. But basically, Superman's like, "You're supposed to be dead. I had it all timed. Do you think I wouldn't have any more of this serum?" And then Superman's like, "Oh, I got it right here." And he's like, "I could have saved the world. Like I could have made everybody see this. What I just saw. I could have saved the world if it wasn't for you." And then Superman says, "You could have saved the world years ago if it actually mattered to you." And that is what this whole run is about, is that Lex has always blamed Superman for everything, claiming that he could have made the world better, but Lex had the opportunities to make the world better and chose not to just because he knew that he didn't want to, he couldn't. Lex had the power to do it, he just chose not to in response to Superman's existence. And then Superman and Lois finally get their last goodbye. "Your poor face, Superman." And Superman tells her, "If he hadn't fatally overdosed me with sunlight, I wouldn't have the power to attempt this final feat. But no one can repair the sun besides me. My cells are converting into pure energy, pure information, and I only have moments left to save the world, Lois. I love you, Lois Lane, until the end of time." And then she says, "I love you back, Superman." So he flies all the way up into the blue sun that Solaris damaged, and then we see him enter it. And then we cut into the future a whole year. Jimmy shows up to Lois in the park, and Jimmy's like, "It's been a whole year since he disappeared. Thousands of people turned to pay their respects towards Superman, and we see there's a marble statue." And Lois is like, "He's not dead. We published that headline as a warning to be carried back through time. Some people will still believe it, but I know that he's up there building an artificial heart to keep the sun alive. He'll be back when he's done, Jimmy. And when he's done, he knows where to find me." And then we pan out to Superman refixing the sun. So this is the end of the series. We'll go into a little bit of fan theories, but the main theory is that this Superman is actually, he's still alive, and that he will be back. And he didn't die whenever he flew into the sun. The other theory is that he died, and then his body just went into the sun and repaired it. And then there's another one that this Superman didn't die, and he did fix the sun, and then he is the one that we saw in issue 5 that gives the golden flower to Pa Kent, the future Superman. I'll put him right here. Basically, that this is Superman 1,000,000. That's another run written by Grant Morrison, but basically that they believe that this is the same one as Superman 1,000,000. And then you might be asking, what do I believe? Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I like that. I like the theory that he is Superman 1,000,000. If that changes in the future, probably will. Wouldn't be surprised. Just time goes on. That's how it works usually. So the last page of last couple pages, of the issue is that Quintum goes up onto the moon again, and he's like, "Wonderful ceremony we had." Luthor even seemed to find some closure in the face of renewed global calls for his execution. He's so faded, so small, now that he finally got his dearest wish of Superman dying. A world without Superman. The challenge to human ingenuity. We all have to make sure that it gets taken care of while Superman is gone. And then his assistant's like, "What if he never returns?" And Quintum says, "I wouldn't worry too much about that, now that we know how Superman is created." And we see this little project, Project Superman 2. And then one last thing is that people believe that Leo Quintum, is actually Lex Luthor from the future, and then he went into the past and actually did those things that Superman said, like, why didn't you fix the world? Do I believe that fan theory? No, but I think it is interesting to read it that way also. I like reading it without that way as just a person that helps out Superman for the good of it. Rich dude having fun, the little wacky side character. But if you do read it as that this is Lex Luthor after the events of this story have happened, I think it's interesting to read. You do get a little small clues of that if you read it that way. I do like reading it that way too. But yeah, this is All-Star Superman. Thank you for listening. We will go over some Fantastic Four stuff now that movie is coming out still. We might go over little Superman 1 issues. We got 3 weeks until it's over, so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Whatever you do, however you choose to listen. Leave a comment, subscribe. Send me some suggestions. I love reading all the comments. Peace out.